I was a very heads in the clouds type of person. Very imaginative, extremely creative, full of ideas and questions. Safe to say, this did not leave much room for the realistic aspects of life. That is, there is no truly good or bad person. Of course, as a kid, it's always easier to label someone nice as good and someone mean as evil, because in our society, everything is highly contextualized. Actions, emotions, motivations, intentions don't always align, so that's easier as a kid. Now that I'm older, I still find people frustrating and confusing, but now I understand. Everybody is tired, the kind of tired that causes misunderstandings. The kind of tired that comes from being in your own little world that makes you too exhausted to even fathom the extent of your actions, where trying to do the right thing is the most you can manage. It is easy to say that playing the hero and doing the good thing is always the right action, but it's not always as simple as that. Emotions and experiences cannot be stripped down, dipped in honey just so they're easier to digest and simplified. I have many days myself where I have to wake up to the violent ring of my alarm clock, force myself into a shower, and hurl myself through the day. Just thinking about it gets me paralyzed. So, what do we do when our modern society makes everything everywhere all at once and all the time? This inevitably feels overwhelming, of course. Naturally, we'll find something to blame it on, and this is where poking the bear comes from. The bear is often seen as something greater than ourselves, provoking the government, corporations, systems, something so grand, so out of reach that if it was corrupt, we wouldn't have to look within ourselves for any flaws. Now, I thought about this, and for a while it did make sense, but it wasn't like that. I learned that on days when I wouldn't do a single good deed for anyone else purely out of spite, I realized that the most dangerous bear isn't some corporate CEO or plotting politician. It's the bear within us all, the modern grizzly. So bear with me for a second. We all have our own grizzlies. I have one clambering all over me as we speak. I can feel it in the way that my heart is racing, and I can barely breathe as I'm on stage. And all of you have some too. These bears are a mixture of our instincts, motivations, desires, and fears. These bears are a natural part of us. They control the way we do things, and they're our flight and fight response. And it's completely normal to listen to them, but there is a danger in going so far with that. Now, you may say that this has lasted with us forever. It's been here in the inception of humanity. And that is true, but I call it the modern grizzly for a reason. The bear itself isn't new. The traits aren't new. But the world we have built to cater to those instincts are. In our modern life, the bear can distract us endlessly through binge watching, doom scrolling, bed rotting. We can get fast food from the corner. We don't even have to leave the house. We can order things. So in this world, the bear can indefinitely distract us without even lifting a paw. So what did I do when I didn't know what to do with my bears? I did the same thing everybody does. I threw a phone in its direction so it could doom scroll for an hour or two. I let it stay under the covers after hitting snooze for what must have been the 1000th time. I threw myself into fast food and things I didn't even like just to fill a void I couldn't understand. I would blast music so loud my ears would burst just to shut that bear up. I called them coping strategies, that eventually things would get better. But of course, that's not how it works, and life isn't about coping, it's about living. I didn't sit down with my bear for a very long time. So the thing is, I don't plan things. I'd go with the flow, I'd let my life drift. I acted like I didn't care. If a huge event came up, I thought I'd just wing it. I didn't mind if it went wrong because I didn't put any effort into that. Now, I wasn't sure what I was afraid of. I wasn't afraid of failure. I have failed many times, and I've come out of it just fine. What I was scared of was the damage to potential. Potential is a beautiful thing, a very messy thing. Teachers, adults, peers will always say things like, oh, you have so much potential, and this feels good, because it means you can do anything, you can do everything. Right now, you're worth something. I was scared that if I tried my really hardest, I would find a limit to that potential. From dreamy what-ifs to being just this, being me for the rest of my life, that was unbearable. I couldn't stand that. So now that I know what I was afraid of, shouldn't that solve everything? Not really, because I'm still me. I'm still going through the same problems I did. I still blast music, I still eat fried food, I still do quite a lot of those things. So, is it over then? When you're done listening and I'm done talking, do we all fall into the same stagnation cycle of doing things and wasting time? I hope not, because the solution is simple, though sad to say, it's not easy. Say, it may take every sinew and tendon in your body to get out of the comfort zone, to get out of the hobbit hole you've been staying in for a very long time. That's all it takes. It's not easy, but the first step is everything. And that can really change a lot of the things that's going wrong in our lives. And for those that say that what's the point in doing these small actions, it's not going to change anything, when the system is corrupt, the government doesn't work, corporations rob you of your money, well, I say this, the systems are made of people like us, tired people, panicked people, people who are damaged by their bears, people pestered, people nagging. How do you know that the person that ignored you this morning wasn't going through something in their own lives? How do you know that the friend that didn't have time for you is going through something rough? We all have our own bears. They may be different. You may not understand your friend's bears, but you need to understand the impact that these bears have. Because in our society, it's built of people like us. Nobody is above or below one another. We're all human, and we all have our own struggles, which means this change starts with you, and it starts with me towards building a greater reality for one another. Now, I want to end on a note that one step towards your goal is everything. One step towards being the person you want to be, that's it. You don't have to look at the greater objective, you just look at the next step you have to take. And I will leave on the note that I have often felt in hindsight how we often regret the things that we didn't do more than what we did. That's why I challenged myself to give this speech despite my fear of being badly received. Regret and embarrassment are two very different memories. The first comes from not doing what you think you should have done. The second, you may have tried to do it, you might have done it wrong, and you feel embarrassed looking back. But they are still very different, as one often hits harder than the other, and it is your choice to choose which you'll live with. Thank you.